My friends, I want to begin tonight with a confession that I think, if you are honest, you will recognize in yourself. For most of your life, in some quiet corner of you, you have been waiting to be rescued. You would never say it out loud, but underneath the surface of all your striving, there has been a small, persistent hope that one day something or someone will come from outside of you and lift you out of the life you are in and into the life you want. The right opportunity, the right person, the right break, the right moment, when everything finally turns. You have been scanning the horizon for the arrival of your rescue and quietly, faithfully waiting. We all do this. It is one of the most human things there is. We are taught it from our very first stories. The hero is saved at the last moment. The prince arrives. The rescue comes. Help shows up from somewhere beyond ourselves, just in time. We absorb this so young, so completely, that it becomes the silent shape of how we wait for our own lives to change. We are all, on some level, waiting for the cavalry. And tonight I have to tell you something that is going to sound, at first, like the loneliest thing in the world, but which is in fact the most liberating thing you will ever hear. The cavalry is not coming. No one is on their way to rescue you. No person, no opportunity, no lucky break, no outside force is going to arrive and lift you out of your life and into the one you want. The rescue you have been waiting for is not going to come from out there. Stay with me, because this is not despair. This is the opposite of despair. The reason no rescue is coming from outside is that the saving power was never outside in the first place. It was always within you, the one you have been waiting for all this time, scanning the horizon, hoping for arrival. The one who can actually change your life is the one who has been doing the waiting. You are your own savior. You always were. And tonight I am going to show you what that actually means and how to finally take up the power you have been waiting for someone else to use on your behalf. Let me start with compassion, because the waiting is not foolish. It comes from somewhere real, and until we understand where, we cannot put it down. When you were small, rescue was real. When you were a child, you genuinely could not save yourself. You depended entirely on the larger beings around you. When you were hungry, someone fed you. When you were hurt, someone came. When you were afraid in the night, you cried out, and help arrived from outside, bigger, stronger, more capable than you. Rescue in childhood was not a fantasy. It was the literal structure of survival. You were genuinely helpless, and salvation genuinely came from beyond you. And so the pattern was set, deep, before you had any say in it. When I cannot manage, something outside me will come and manage on my behalf. This was true. It was the truth of your early life, and it imprinted itself so thoroughly that it never occurred to you to question it as you grew. You simply carried it forward into adulthood, where it quietly became the way you relate to every difficulty you cannot immediately solve. You wait. You cry out in your own grown-up way, and you scan the horizon for the larger being who will arrive and fix what you cannot. But here is what changed, and what no one ever announced to you. You became the larger being. Somewhere along the way, you grew up. You became the capable one. You became the source of the power you used to wait for. The strength you once looked for in the adults around you. It lives in you now. And yet the old pattern kept running, unupdated, in the background. You kept waiting for rescue from outside, long after you had become the very thing capable of doing the rescuing. You kept crying out into the night for a larger being to come, never realizing that the larger being had arrived years ago, and it was you. This is the strange tragedy of so many adult lives. People with enormous inner power, waiting passively for an external rescue that will never come, because the power they are waiting for is the very power they are failing to use. They are the savior they are waiting for. And they spend their lives looking everywhere except the one place the savior actually is. Now I want to show you very precisely why no outer rescue can ever work, even when it seems to arrive, because this is the part that finally frees you from waiting. Imagine the rescue does come. Imagine the opportunity arrives. The person appears, the lucky break lands. Surely that would save you. It would not. And the proof is everywhere, if you look. Consider the people who receive exactly the outer rescue they were waiting for. The ones who win the money they were sure would fix everything. Within a few years, the great majority are back where they started, or worse. The outer rescue arrived, and it could not hold. Consider the people who finally meet the person they were certain would complete them. Within a few years, so many find themselves in the same loneliness they thought the relationship would cure, except now it aches from inside the relationship. The outer rescue arrived, and it could not hold. Why? Why can the outer rescue never hold? Because your outer life is not the cause of your inner state. Your outer life is the reflection of it, and a rescue that changes only the reflection cannot change the thing being reflected. You can pour a new condition over an old self, and for a little while it looks like salvation, but the old self, unchanged underneath, slowly, patiently, faithfully, draws the old conditions back. The lottery winner who is broke again, the rescued one who is drowning again in a different sea. The outer rescue is always temporary, because it addressed the echo and left the sound untouched. This is why no one can save you from outside, not because no one is kind enough, or powerful enough, or willing enough, but because the thing that actually needs to change is not in the outer world at all. It is your inner state, your self-concept, the assumptions you hold about who you are and what is possible for you, and no external force, however generous, can reach in and change that for you. That work, the only work that actually saves, can only be done from the inside, by the one who lives there, by you. The outer world is not where you are saved. The outer world is where the result of your salvation eventually shows up, late, as it always does. The salvation itself happens somewhere the outer world cannot reach. It happens in the quiet inner chamber of your own assumption, a chamber that only one person in the entire universe holds the key to, you. Let me make this vivid, because it is the heart of everything tonight. There is a room inside you. In that room is the control panel for your entire life. Every condition you experience, every reflection the outer world shows you, every echo that returns to you from the canyon of reality, all of it is generated from the settings in that room. The assumptions, the self-concept, the inner state you habitually occupy. This is where your life is actually authored, not out there, in here. And here is the thing about that room. It has only one door, and the door locks from the inside, and there is only one key, and you are holding it. You have always been holding it. No one else can enter that room. No savior, no rescuer, no helper, no lover, no mentor, no force from beyond. They cannot get in. The door does not open from the outside. It never has. The architecture of reality has arranged it so that the single most powerful place in your life, the room where your reality is generated, is accessible to one being only, you. People spend their lives knocking on the doors of others, begging to be let into rooms where their salvation supposedly waits. They beg the world to change them. They beg other people to complete them. They beg circumstances to lift them. And all the while, they are standing outside everyone else's door, holding the key to their own, the only door that actually leads to the room where their life is made. This is what it means to say you are your own savior. Not that you must struggle alone. Not that you must white-knuckle your way through life with no help. It means something far more specific and far more powerful. It means that the one room where your reality is actually changed can only be entered by you, and you are already holding the key, and no amount of waiting for someone else will ever open a door that was only ever yours to open. The Savior is not someone who will come. The Savior is the one who walks into that inner room, sits down at the control panel, and changes the settings, and that one has been you all along. You have simply been standing in the hallway, key in hand, waiting for someone else to do what only you can do. So let me tell you what salvation actually is in the practical, livable sense. Because it is not a feeling, it is not an event, It is not a moment of being lifted. It is something much quieter and much more within your power than any of that. Salvation is a change of self. You are not saved by changing your circumstances. You are saved by changing the self that is generating those circumstances, the condition you want to be rescued from, the lack, the loneliness, the smallness, the struggle, is not a prison someone else locked you in. It is the faithful outer expression of an inner self you have been habitually being. And the way out is not to wait for someone to break you out. The way out is to become a different self, inwardly, and let the outer world reorganize itself, as it always does, around the new one. This is why the saving can only be done from inside, because no one else can be yourself for you. No one else can assume your assumptions, occupy your state, become the version of you that has what you want. That is the most private act in all of existence. It happens in a chamber only you can enter, and it is, at the same time, the most powerful act in all of existence, because everything in your outer life flows from it. To save yourself, then, is not to fix your conditions. It is to change who you are being, in the quiet privacy of your own inner life, and to hold that new self steadily, faithfully, through the delay, while the outer world catches up. You become the saved version of you first, inwardly, in advance, before any evidence, and the salvation shows up in the outer world afterward, as the echo of the inner change. This is the great reversal almost no one makes. Most people are waiting to feel saved so that they can become a new self. When my life changes, then I will be different. But it runs the other way. You become the new self first, and then the life changes to match. You take up the saving power now, in the absence of any reason to, and the reasons arrive afterward, drawn by the self you dared to become before they existed. You do not wait to be saved and then change. You change, and the change is the salvation. The outer rescue you were waiting for was only ever going to be the late arriving echo of an inner rescue you alone could perform. Now I have to address the hardest part, because knowing all this is not the same as living it. And the thing standing between you and living it is the wait itself. The waiting has become a habit, a comfort even, and you have to put it down, and putting it down is harder than it sounds. Why is it hard to stop waiting for rescue? Because waiting is safe. As long as you are waiting to be saved, you never have to risk the act of saving yourself. As long as the power is imagined to be out there, in someone else's hands, you are never responsible for using it. The wait protects you from the terrifying freedom of being the one who can actually change things. It keeps you in the role of the child, helpless and blameless, rather than the adult, capable and responsible. There is a strange comfort in helplessness. If you cannot save yourself, then your unchanged life is not your fault. You are simply waiting, like a good child, for the rescue that has not yet come. And the moment you accept that you are your own savior, that comfort evaporates, because now the power is in your hands. Now the unchanged life is not something happening to you while you wait. It is something you are continuing to generate by failing to walk into the room and change the settings. That is a heavier truth to hold. It is also the only truth that sets you free. So putting down the weight requires a kind of inner courage. The courage to stop being the one who is owed a rescue and to become the one who performs it. The courage to take the key out of your pocket, walk to your own door, and accept that no one is coming because no one was ever meant to come, because the power was always yours. Let me say something gently here, to the part of you that finds this frightening. Taking up your own saving power does not mean you are alone. It does not mean you cannot receive help, love, support, kindness from others. Of course you can, and you should, and those things are real gifts. But there is a difference between receiving help along the way and waiting for rescue instead of acting. The help others give you can support the journey. It can never replace the one act only you can perform, the act of changing your own inner self, in the room only you can enter. Receive every kindness. Lean on every shoulder offered. And still, know this: the saving itself is yours to do. You are not alone, but you are the only one who can walk into that room. Both of these are true. And the second one is the one that changes everything. So let me make this concrete, because a lecture about salvation that does not tell you how to perform it is just another sermon to wade through. First, stop scanning the horizon. Notice the habit of waiting for arrival, for the opportunity, the person, the break, the moment. Notice how much of your inner energy goes into watching the outer world for the sign of incoming rescue, and gently, deliberately withdraw that attention from the horizon and turn it inward, toward the room where the real work is done. The horizon has nothing for you. The rescue is not coming from there. Stop looking where it is not. Second, identify the self that is generating your condition. Look honestly at the part of your life you most want to be saved from. And instead of asking who will rescue me from this, ask what am I assuming about myself that keeps generating this? What is the self concept underneath the condition? The belief about your worth, your possibility, your identity that keeps producing this outer result. Find it. Name it. That self is the one the salvation will replace. Third, become the saved self now. This is the act. This is the saving itself. Step into the inner state of the version of you who has already been rescued, not by someone else, but by their own change of self. The version who already has it, already is it, already lives in the saved condition. Occupy that self inwardly. Take its posture. Assume its assumptions. Feel as best you can what it is to be the one who no longer needs rescuing because they have already done the saving. Do this not as a performance, but as a quiet relocation of who you are being. Fourth, hold the new self through the delay. Remember that reality is always late. The outer world will not reflect your new self immediately. The old conditions will keep arriving for a while, the old echoes still traveling back. Do not let them convince you the saving did not work. Hold the new self steady. Keep being the saved version, faithfully through the gap, while the slow outer world makes its way toward you. This holding is the discipline. This is what separates the ones who save themselves from the ones who give up in the hallway. And fifth, return every time you forget. You will forget. You will slip back into the wait, back into scanning the horizon, back into the old helpless self. This is normal. Do not despair over it. Simply notice and return. Walk back into the room. Take up the key again. Become the saved self again. Each return is an act of self-salvation, and the returns, accumulated, become the new permanent residence. One day you will notice you no longer have to return, because you no longer leave. The saved self has become simply who you are. And that, my friends, is what salvation actually looks like, lived out over time. Not a single rescue, 1,000 quiet acts of becoming, performed by the only one who could perform them. So here is what I want you to carry with you tonight. Out of this lecture, into every moment, you catch yourself waiting for your life to be changed by something outside of you. The cavalry is not coming, and that is the best news you will ever receive. It is the best news because the rescue you have been waiting for, scanning the horizon for, quietly hoping would arrive. It was never going to come from out there, because the saving power was never out there. It was always within you. The one you have been waiting for is the one who has been doing the waiting. You have been standing in the hallway, key in your pocket, begging at the doors of others, while the one door that leads to the room where your life is actually made has stood there the whole time, waiting for you to walk through it. You are your own savior, not as a burden, as a power. The single most powerful place in your entire life, the inner room where reality is generated, can be entered by you alone. No one else can reach it. No one else can change it. No one else can become yourself for you. Assume your assumptions. Occupy your state. That work is yours, and yours only. And that is not a loneliness. It is a sovereignty. It means that no matter what the outer world is doing, no matter how late reality is running, no matter how loud the old echoes are, the power to change everything has been in your hands the entire time. So tonight I am asking you to stop waiting, not because waiting is shameful, but because you have outgrown it. You became the larger being years ago. The strength you have been waiting for in someone else has been living in you all along. It is time to take up the key. It is time to walk into the room. It is time to sit down at the control panel of your own life and become the self you have been waiting for someone else to rescue you into being. No one is coming because no one needs to. Because the one with the power to save you has been here the whole time, reading these words, holding the key, finally ready to use it. Walk into the room, my friends. You are the one you have been waiting for. You always were. Thank you and good evening. This is Best of Lectures. I will see you in the next video.